Hello, welcome to this next live video on nature connected coaching. And I'm Michael Jospin. I'm the founder of Earth Based Institute. And I'm really excited for this week's call. It's this idea of living a soul directed life or soul searching. And, when you think about that, what does that mean to you? That idea of living a soul-directed life, um, and for me, that idea is living in alignment with a deep-centered knowing, right? Like being able to feel like your life is in alignment with your truth, with your deep-centered knowing. And when I think about that, and I think about the clients that I work with and the students that come through EBI and so forth, that's what it seems like as beneath everything that they're pursuing in their lives is that idea of living in alignment with a deep truth. And so I'm really excited to dig into this. And, as I was trying to think about how to really get started with this, how to kind of like highlight this idea of um, a soul directed life and what that means and so forth, I was thinking about this quote here that one of our students said. This is literally how she introduced herself to her cohort in October. She said, I think I was scrolling through Facebook one day and Nature Connected Coaching popped up into my feed. And I felt this huge yes build up inside. And it was like all the questions I was asking, all the ideas I'd been thinking about in terms of nature and helping others just made sense somehow. And I'm not sure exactly what it all means, but I knew I needed to get in touch. And I when we're exploring this idea of soul searching and living a soul directed life, this quote, and I'm going to explain why, because I feel like it kind of creates a curriculum almost for us to look at in terms of what does this mean? Like what do you do with this, right? Like Emma has gone from this idea of a yes inside like that to actually becoming a nature connected coach. So she's living this soul directed life that she's been feeling. I want to talk about how that comes together. So this will be kind of be central to our thoughts today in this conversation. But our goals today for this call are, of course, we're going to talk about this idea of living a soul-directed life, right? That living in alignment with that deep-centered knowing. And, does it have to be so hard to do that? Like, does it have to be a struggle? Like, there's these ideas that, like, following that vision, that call, living your life like that you're going to have to struggle, or there's going to be some big issue with this, or there's some dramatic change that has to happen in your life. Change has to happen in your life for sure, but I just wonder, is there a way that you can go into living a soul directed life that doesn't mean that everything has to be disrupted in your life completely? I mean, everyone's unique, everyone's life is different, and your vision and your purpose is unique to you. Um, and so it might have to be a big change. But I also wonder, can it be a smooth change? Can it be a, a flow into a soul directed life? And that's something that, to me, this is where soul searching comes in. And that this is, the next, another piece that we're going to be talking about is what is soul searching, and like, how do you do that in a way? That's like a buzzword, soul searching, search your soul, that kind of thing. But what does that really mean to do that? How do we do that? How do you help your clients do that as a nature connected coach, as a guide? So we're digging into those pieces today as well. And then, how do you stay committed to this process of living a soul-directed life? That's huge. Once you decide to move into it, like, how do you stay committed to it? And, I think that if there is one question, and I want to talk about this, the most important question you can be asking yourself today to help you stay committed on your journey of living a soul-directed life. And then I also want to get into my favorite technique for soul searching. So that's something we'll get into. And then we will do some question and answers at the end. So please feel free to post your questions in at any time. If you're watching this recording, we'll get a notification that you posted a question. We'll respond to it. Or if you're here live, post that question, and Daniel and Sarah, who are part of EBI, are here also in the back end. And if they can't answer your question right away, then I'll make sure I get to it at the end of this call. Okay, so let's jump in to this idea of living a soul-directed life. When I think about this, when I think about living a soul-directed life, it's not something that happens in the future. I think that's a really important thing to realize and think about. It's not something that happens. It's not something that you fantasize about. It's something that you do here and now in the moment. It's something that is a choice that you can make right now. So like right now, you can make a choice that is in alignment with a deep-centered knowing. Okay? So, when I think about this, like when I was thinking about like, how can I describe this in a way that, just is easy and makes sense and other people know about and so forth. And really what it reminds me of so much is like the hero's journey. That idea of like moving from the known reality and changing your life, going into the unknown and creating a new life and crossing the hearing the call to adventure and refusing the call to adventure and crossing the gap, the chasms, and slaying the dragons and all the rest, right? I think about that in terms of this idea of a soul-directed life, that it's living in alignment with that deep-centered knowing, moving in that direction is so similar to this idea of the hero's journey. And if we look back at one of those key parts of the hero's journey is that idea of the call, right? The call to adventure. And if we look back at Emma's quote here, right? This idea of yes built up inside of me. Okay. Now to get to that yes, to build up that yes inside, the soul searching really begins with that persistent call towards alignment with that deep-centered knowing. So think about this in your life. You have, have started to question, am I living the life that I was born to live? Am I living my purpose? Do I have a purpose? What's my direction? Is this the type of life I want to live, right? That's the moment that soul searching begins. Okay, so when you start asking that question, you begin to, you create a pretty significant conflict in your brain. And your brain needs to find a solution for that. So it goes and searches. Okay, you've basically sent out the call to adventure. All right. But you got to listen for feedback back. And that's exactly in this, like what Emma was doing. She felt a huge yes. In some way inside of her, she was saying, I know there's more. And I have this passion for nature and I have this passion for helping others. And how do I do this? Like, how do I step into that kind of life for myself? So her mind, her brain, her soul, her heart is already searching for something like this. And then when she sees nature connected coaching pop up in her feed, there's a yes. There's an answer right there. Now, does it mean that it is the exact thing that you need to do? Well, that really is up to each person. That requires a deeper dive into this process of soul searching. So let's talk about that a little bit more, okay? So the soul searching begins at the moment you have that persistent call towards alignment with something, with a deep-centered knowing inside, right? But one of the things that ends up happening for us is that we get this like inspiration that really bubbles up inside. Like, you see that ad on, like Emma did, right? You see that ad and this yes builds up inside. And so what happens in that moment is that your mind has to start to make sense of that and begins to form an image of yourself in that possibility. And it's an inspiring possibility. And it's also way in the future. It's also a possible future for yourself. And so it's off into the future. And, like you might all of a sudden see yourself like, on this amazing land with people out in the wilderness, and you're helping them, and they're going through these journeys and transformations and so forth. And it just looks amazing, right? In your mind. And it feels like this is exactly what I need to be doing. And you're feeling really excited about it and so forth. And what you start to do is you start to create a dream about it. But a dream is in the future. A dream is something that is out there. It's not something that you are living right now in this moment. So there's this balance that needs to happen. The dream is really, really important, okay? Because the dream kind of sets the compass, so to speak, of we're going in that direction. But what ends up happening is we can get fixated on that particular outcome. And in doing that, we kind of are projecting ourselves out into that future, and we forget about being in the present here and now and living that soul-directed life. We start working for this future as opposed to being in the experience right now and asking yourself some really important questions and continuing to do some soul searching around how do I move towards that now, as opposed to that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so there is a bit of a dilemma that gets created, and inside of that dilemma, the unknown, really, how do I close that gap? That chasm, like in the hero's journey of some kind, becomes a real threat. Like, and all sorts of things can start to come up in your mind. I'm not good enough to do that. I don't have what it takes to do that. As a coach or someone who's offering a service to somebody, they might go, there's no way I can make that happen as a client or something. And they might even start blaming you for that. Like, you might not have what it takes to help me get there, or it's too much or something like that. That happens all the time with Earth-Based Institute as people are thinking about this journey for themselves. They project themselves into that future. They get really excited about it, which is really wonderful. And then one of the first thoughts is, I'm not sure I can actually make this happen. And and that might get translated into, I bet this program is even too much for me. I bet I can't even afford it. So, I'm just going to rule this out right now. That's basically refusing the call. That's part of the whole process. But that persistent drive to want to confine this for yourself, want to live that soul-directed life, will continue to keep surfacing. You might circle around for a while before you decide to really step towards that vision for yourself. When somebody has made that decision inside at that moment, has refused the call, it's incredibly challenging at that moment to inspire them in any other way. Right? So I could tell you that nature connected coaching costs $100,000. I could tell you it costs $100, and it's going to be too expensive no matter what if you've already refused the call. Okay? Now, this is something that we can get into here in regards to our role as a coach and so forth in a minute, because, as a coach, our job, it's not to convince. It's not to tell someone how to live their life. It's about pulling the wisdom out of somebody and helping them make their, stay in alignment with their truth on their journey. Okay. So really this, let's see here, where am I? Okay. So the only way really through that, all of that conflict, all of those challenges, the big unknown, is to stay connected to the deep center knowing. That's why living a soul-directed life is something that happens now. Okay, it's something that happens in the here and now, in the present moment, not in the future. It's something that happens now. So the only way through is to stay connected to that deep-centered knowing. And that is a commitment. And and that commitment requires trust. But what are you committing to in that? You could say, I'm committing to my career. Well, not really. The career is a result of you being committed to something much deeper inside of yourself. Okay? So your commitment your commitment to staying connected to that deep-centered knowing is what will continue to carry you through. And this is going to help. This will make a little bit more sense when we get into that, what that really important question is to be asking yourselves. And like I said, our job as a coach, when we're supporting somebody here, is to help them pull that wisdom out. Again, the question that I'll share with you in a few minutes will help kind of frame that a little bit, because what we're doing is we're supporting our clients to stay connected to that deep-centered knowing. This is exactly what we do when we talk to people who are interested in nature-connected coaching. We don't go for this like hard sale into becoming a nature-connected coach. We want to know what your deep-centered knowing is telling you. We want you to be clear and connected to that, because that's who we want in our program, right? So, we're wanting and what we're wanting to train our coaches to do also is to be able to support our clients to pull that wisdom out of their clients. Okay. So, just to say here real quick is that one of the things that we offer within the Nature Connected Coaching program, like Nature Connected Coaching, I'll say it this way: Nature Connected Coaching essentially follows a process that supports the client to access that wisdom, okay, and find a way to integrate it in their lives. I think that might actually be one of the best ways that I think I've ever described nature connected coaching. Okay, is that it's a process that supports the client to access that wisdom and find a way to integrate it in their life, and that involves nature, of course, and supporting them to live more in alignment with their truth, with their soul. Okay, and the Earth-Based Institute program, our career development program, is about taking somebody from this idea, from that moment where they feel that yes inside, to helping them essentially create something from that, to go through the transformation of becoming that calling that they're feeling inside themselves. Not the dream so much. The dream points us in the direction, but to actually become the truth, the calling of this idea that's beginning, that's forming inside of their minds and inside of their hearts and so forth. That's what we're doing here. Okay. Okay, so let's go back into a little bit more here about, how do we source that place of soul? How do we source that inside, right? Like I said, we have to stay connected to that deep centered knowing. So how do we do that? And the way into there is through the body. And if you've watched some of the other videos here, you've probably heard me say this again. The body is in the here and now. It's in the present moment. And really, I think one of the most important questions you can be asking yourself on this journey as a nature-connected coach, as someone who's living a soul-directed life, is, what am I feeling right now? Okay, that's going to take you into your body. All right, that's going to take you into the present moment. And I'm not talking about what emotions am I feeling. Okay, emotions are not so much physical. They're not so much visceral. They're more kind of the responses inside of your mind about that. But what are the physical experiences that you're having with it? Okay, so or in the moment. So one of the most important questions you could be asking to help you access that place inside and stay connected to it is, what am I feeling right now? Not how am I feeling, but what am I feeling? And bringing yourself into a place of awareness of what's really happening for you in this moment. That anchors you in. But once you're in there, how you stay connected and how you continue to move forward on that journey is to ask, what is my next step? That's the key right there. What is my next step? And you listen once you're in that place of connection with yourself. This is some of the things that we really dig into within the EBI training. So that first piece is to connect, to anchor in to the present here and now. And then, what is my next step? Okay, so you've got this calling, you kind of got a dream or an idea of where you want to be going in your life. You come back to the present moment through the body and you ask, what is my next step? That's how you cross through the unknown. That's how you stay connected and so forth. Now, there's more here because I want to share with you some really powerful techniques for this, okay? Or I would say probably my favorite one. I don't have enough time really to go into a whole bunch of stuff, but I want to share one that I want to send you off with. But I also want to share something that's coming up also, which is going to be a free opportunity for you to get involved with EBI, and I'm excited to share about it. But before I get into all of that, I just want to talk a little bit more about how EBI can help you with your journey of becoming a nature-connected coach. Okay, so I just want to take a few minutes to explore that because you're watching this video right now. You've heard the call in some way, like Emma, you've heard the call around this idea of nature-connected coaching it resonates in some way for you. Okay. And, um, and, I want to be able to share with you how we can help you take that calling and bring that into creating a career for yourself in this. Okay. So you've been hearing that call, and here is a pathway for you. It's one of many pathways. Okay. But this is the way that we support. All right. So really, if you feel that yes inside, I can't tell you if that means that EBI is the yes. Okay, I wish I could, but that would violate all sorts of, rules probably, right? So I can't tell you that that's the yes. All I can do is tell you how we can support you, and you have to decide if that's the yes for you. Okay, if that's the path for you. And if it is, then you got to step towards this, okay, and take another next step into it. But, there are two things that you need in order to be successful. Okay, in order to step into this journey of becoming a nature-connected coach, there's two things that you need. Okay, one is you need mentorship and you need support because you are going through your own personal transformation of becoming a nature-connected coach. I don't know what your life has been up until this moment of deciding to move towards nature-connected coaching. But you need support and you need mentorship in this process of becoming a nature-connected coach. It's huge, okay? And EBI is really good at that. And it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of within inside of Earth-Based Institute is how we support our students on this transformational journey that they're going through. And so there's just there's tremendous amount of mentoring. You have a one-on-one mentor that's supporting you through this entire program, helping you with your own personal goals, your professional goals, understanding all the concepts and so forth. And we can get into details about all that if when you're ready. All right. So the next thing that you absolutely need on this journey of becoming a nature-connected coach is training. Okay, you need to know how to be a nature-connected coach. You need certification and credentialing on that path to becoming a nature-connected coach. And I forgot I had these slides here. So you need mentorship, and you need training and credentialing on this path of becoming a nature-connected coach. You need that credentialing and the certifications and so forth, so you can be able to say to the world that I know what I'm doing here. I've put my time in. I have studied and researched and practiced and learned how to support people well on their transformations in their journeys. Okay, so those are two core things, and EBI is set up to help you with that. That is what we do. That's why we have a 2-year career development program that is focused on mentorship and training and so forth. And not only do you need the training and the mentoring in how to be a nature-connected coach, but you also need the training and support and the mentoring in how to build a business as a nature-connected coach. You need to know how to get clients and how to grow a business in a way that supports your lifestyle. Okay, that's another aspect of this program, of the career development program, is that we're not just going to give you a certification. Okay, we want to help you actually become successful in this, actually create that, get to that, create that dream for yourself. Actually find yourself living that in a more complete experience, rather than just some sort of idea way out in the future, but finding yourself living that in a really powerful way. So this journey here with EBI begins in June, and we have groups, cohorts of students that start every June and every January. And so this June, we are accepting applications. We have a few seats left in our June foundations intensive. Everyone starts with the foundations. Then the rest of the program is virtual. Okay, so we start in June, and if you've been asking, like, what is my next step on this path here, the next step for you is to apply. Okay, so let me tell you about that. Applying doesn't mean I'm committing to becoming a nature connected coach. Applying means I'm committing to listening to myself here and taking a step towards my vision. Okay, so applying is, here's a link to the application. It's also in the description below. Applying starts this process. You submit your application, you have a meeting with one of our admissions team, and you begin to discuss with them your vision, discuss with them this calling that you have. And it's a wonderful experience because you've got someone on the other end of the line there that's like gets it and is really like reflecting back to you what they're hearing you say and telling you, okay, well, here's what I hear, here's what you want to do, and here's how EBI is set up. And their job in that call with you is, again, it's not to convince you to become a nature connected coach. It's to draw the wisdom out of you and show you how nature connected, how our certification program can support you. And then it's your decision to say, yeah, that is the direction that I want to take. That feels like it's going to hold me in the way that it needs to hold me. And that's who we want in the program, right? That's who we're calling into this program, are people who are saying yes to their vision, who are saying yes to stepping into this container that we have for you. And so I want to invite you to apply if you're feeling that connection of like, yeah, like Emma, like this makes sense to me. I don't know how yet. Then fill out the application and have a meeting with us so you can start to understand a little bit more about how. Okay. Now, I certainly understand how that idea of stepping towards that vision activates all sorts of fears and concerns, right? Because that takes you into the unknown. It's going to activate all sorts of thoughts and doubts and all sorts of things. Okay? But remember, you want to come back. What am I feeling right now? And what is my next step? You want to come back into that experience and to continue to take steps in the present moment. Then your next step might not be to go and apply right now, right? Your next step might be more like, I need to go sit outside for a minute and really think about what Michael's saying. I need to go sit outside and really give this some time here. Oftentimes when we connect with that dream out in the future, it can feel so extreme. It can feel, intense and scary and so forth. And, we can just turn away from it really fast. And, we have to remember to come back and ground ourselves in the present moment with it and stay connected to ourselves and stay connected to the inspiration of where that's coming from, but not allow that dream out there in the future to define what's supposed to happen. Okay, we want to stay present in the moment and staying connected and living that soul-directed life from start to whenever it ends, which it never does. Once you get on the path of it, it's a commitment. Okay, All right, so let's go back in now and let's talk a little bit more about techniques. Okay, so I think my most favorite, and I would really encourage you to do this, um, is what I call the soul wander. All right, and a wander really is a being able to move through the landscape, the environment. You can do a wander in your house. You don't have to be out, in the wild places, although that's pretty awesome. But is so it's so you can be anywhere. It's a movement through your environment that does not have a particular destination. Okay, so you are following something deeper inside rather than, oh, I'm going to go walk down that trail. In fact, I would encourage you to be not on a trail and not limited to the confines of the path, but instead allow yourself to be guided. And what I mean by that is the first step on that, the first thing that you need to do is clarify your vision. Okay, clarify your question. All right, so that question might be, what is my next step on my path? That question might be, is it time for me now to go fill out this application? That question might be, what are the things that I really want to be able to do with people in the world? That kind of thing. Okay, typically not a yes or no kind of question, but more of an open-ended, show me, teach me kind of question. What do I need to learn? What do I need to see about myself, about this calling that I have? Okay, so first, clarify that question for yourself. And then second, you want to ask yourself, this is going back into the present moment, back into the body again, what direction should I move in right now? What is my next step, right? So go back in to after you clarify that question, you've got it clear in your mind and your heart. What direction do I need to move in now? And literally feel the pull. Your body it will almost be like a compass, or a string pulling you in some way. Feel that pull onto a certain direction. And what you want to do is stay connected to that pull, following it through the landscape, wherever that is. If it's in your house, if it's out in your neighborhood. I've had some of the most amazing wanders through my neighborhood that I walk with my dogs on every single day. But the minute I go into it from a place of a wander, the mindset of a wander, I'm not focused on destination or anything. I'm following a pull. And you want to stay connected to that pull. Okay? So that might take you on a very zigzagged journey around the landscape. It may or may not just be a, beeline in some direction. It might be more of a zigzagging, back and forth, spiraling around kind of movement. You might not even move all that much even. Okay? But what's on the other end of that pull is a place. Okay? Now, what is also important is the experience of moving from one place to the next, the journey, right? That old saying, it's not the destination, it's the journey, right? And in this, it's a little bit of both, okay? Because there is something that you are being pulled towards. So you're moving towards that place out on the landscape when you get there, you'll know, like this is it. It's going to be obvious. And when you get there, what is it telling you? What's it showing you? And pay attention to everything on the journey. And you can keep doing that. You can do that for on and on and on. You can go do that for days if you want to, continuing that soul wandering of collecting very important information about your life and about your next steps and so forth. Okay? So this idea of wander this is something that is core to nature connected coaching, actually. It's actually a technique, this idea of a wonder is a technique that we bring in to a nature-connected coaching session with our clients, right? We want to help them draw the wisdom out of themselves. One of the most amazing ways to do that in nature is to do that from a place of a wander and kind of a way of a wander. So it might not look exactly like what I'm talking about right here, but this experience of a wander is something that we recreate with inside of a nature connected coaching session with our clients. One of the most powerful ways to have a collaborative experience with nature that helps you move towards the goals that you have for yourself in your life. Okay, so just to recap here, we've talked a little bit about this idea of living a soul-directed life and some of the questions that are really essential to be asking yourself. We've talked about the wander and so forth. We've talked about nature-connected coaching and the certification program, and all some of the details, some of the concepts around what is really important from my perspective, from our perspective here at EBI, around of how do you actually become successful on this journey of a nature-connected coach, as a nature-connected coach. And remember, you're going to go through a transformation yourself. So if you're ready for that transformation, right, like you're ready to become this, then apply, okay? And the training and the education around how to be a professional coach, how to be a nature-connected coach, how to build a business, how to grow a coaching practice, okay, credentialing and so forth. That's part of this journey too. So if you're feeling that call in that direction, then I want to really encourage you to apply for our certification program. Like I said before, we only have a few seats left in the cohort. I think we're like at 6 seats right now. Okay, as we keep it very small, and we are also needing to close our registration and our application window very soon, because June is just around the corner, and there's a lot to do to get people organized and ready and everything for this big experience. So please, if you've been thinking about applying and so forth, do it now. And even if June doesn't turn out to be the right start for you, we can also be talking about start dates in the future and so forth. And there's so many ways for you to get started too. There's all sorts of ways for you to get started with the content in our Nature Connected Coaching Certification Program, even before you commit to the 2-year program. So it's, reach out to us and start engaging with us and asking us these questions and sharing with us what your vision is and so forth. Okay, so that is what I've got for you today.